Yeah, the factory service manual talks about doing a visual check of the idle air control valves. And what you can do is, well, these kidney-shaped openings right here on each of the throttle bodies. It's kind of hard to get a good picture of this with the, but you can look down in these kidney-shaped openings right here, and you see the opening right there where the tip of the pinto comes through to control airflow. When the engine's off, or when you first crank the car up and it's cold, you won't see the tips of the pinto. And when you get the car up to operating temperature, like I'll start it in a second, you'll see the tips of the pintos are come through that opening right there. You should see probably about 1/8 of an inch maybe of the pinto. They should be shiny, not all black and sooted up and full of, whatever. Lost my train of thought. But anyway, so, and then when you can take your throttle and manually just pop it real quick, and you can watch the pintos. You can just look down there and watch the pintos move in and out when you throttle up real quick. And I'll go ahead and start it and do that. You can now see the tip of the pinto is in there. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this. You can watch the pintos move. You can throttle up. But anyway, I guess you get the idea. You can see the pintos now through the opening there. That's you can visually check each of the pintos to see if you have movement. Anyway, I can't hold the camera and do it too, but that's what you want to do, is look at the but that's a easy visual. That's what the factory service manual calls to do if you're having idle issues, is actually do a visual check of the pintos on the idle air control valves to see if you have movement in there. But what happens is, as you can see now, I turn the engine off. The pintos have retracted back into the idle air control valve. One of the things the factory service manual talks about several times is every time you start the engine, every single time you start the engines, the idle air control valves will reset themselves when the car reaches 35 to 45 miles per hour. So, and one of the most important things it talks about in the factory service manual is the electronic control module will look at battery voltage as a reference point on how to set the idle air control valve. So if you've got a battery that's very low voltage and you've got an alternator not putting out the required voltage, you're going to have issues with idling. So I'm just trying to sort through all my systems to see why my car overheated the other day. Again, still at it this morning. But simple check of the idle air control valves. If you see the pintos move in and out, they're probably in pretty good shape. Another thing I forgot to mention is one of the things the factory service manual talks about in pretty bold letters is with the key. If you have the key in the on position, don't turn the battery. Don't put power to or from the battery, such as jumper cables, or like just turning the battery on and off, or connecting the battery up with the key in the on position. it could cause internal irreparable damage to the internal part of the electronic control module.